Today I'm sitting down with Courtney Claghorn, the founder and CEO of Sugared and Bronze, the nation's largest sugaring and sunless tanning destination and one of my personal favorite skincare and beauty places. Courtney, welcome to DITL.
Thank you for having me.
How's it going?
Great.
I'm so happy you're here today. I have been a huge fan of your business for over a decade.
Oh my God.
For a long time. I mean, how old is the business?
That makes me feel old to admit this, but it started in late 2010 out of my apartment. So like this November will be 15 years from the very, very, very humble beginnings.
Wow.
Yeah.
And how many studios of Sugared and Bronze do you have today?
We opened our 35th yesterday.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Where is that 35th location?
Upper West Side in New York.
Is that the first New York location?
It's not. And
Okay.
I don't know if we have 8 or not. I need to count now, like in every region. I don't know it off the top of my head like I used to. But yeah, we have quite a few in Manhattan and we have a couple in Brooklyn.
Okay. What other states is the business in?
We are in California, where we started, LA and Orange County. And then we're in Texas, Houston, Austin, and Dallas. We are in Miami and we are in Philadelphia. And the next will be DC.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Are there thoughts of any additional cities beyond DC or any parts of the country?
For sure. I mean, for sure. We want to hit every major city and then some. So DC is just the next one that will be, the newest market. But we're going to look at Chicago coming up here next month. I'm going out there to do a real estate tour. So that is likely the city after that. But, we haven't signed a lease yet. Like things could change. So we'll see.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Are you in Florida?
Miami.
Oh,
We
yeah.
have one in Miami.
Okay.
We're in Midtown. We're under construction in Coral Gables, and we're about to sign a lease in Aventura.
Very exciting.
Yeah.
Wow. And how many employees across the entire business?
I think we're just about 400.
Okay, well, we are going to get into all of that and more in your DITL. So on DITL, we always start at the very beginning of the day. So what time do you wake up and how do you get your day started?
Okay, I'm embarrassed to say what time I wake up, but I'm
Don't
also
be embarrassed.
I'm also like an open book to like a fault, so I'm gonna share it, but like please don't judge me. And now that I'm deep into sleep research, I love listening to Matt Walker. I realized I should stop shaming myself. It's just my chronotype. So I'm a night owl. I get up around 8:15. But yeah.
There is no shame. There is no judgment. I think that is what we are honestly looking to do on DITL is to share everyone's unique day in their life. Some people wake up early. Some people wake up late. Some people go to bed early. Some people need, more hours of sleep than others.
Mm-hmm.
Everything. This is what works for you.
Yes. Very much. But people are like, you have a toddler. Like how, your kid doesn't sleep till 8:15. And I'm like, yeah, I do. I have the nanny or au pair get up with him at around 7:30. Sometimes he makes it till 8. He has my genes, but I would just be a bad mom if I got up with him at 7:30. That extra half hour, 45 minutes changes who I am all day. I get a lot of REM sleep in those minutes. So I feel good about it. But a lot of people are like, wait, what? Especially the morning people. They can't fathom my schedule.
You need it for you. How has that evolved or changed over the years? Or have you always been kind of like an 8 a.m. waker-upper?
No. I mean, I think like my 23andMe is super accurate. If you look at my app, and I did it years ago, but it updates every now and then. I love it. But I think in my 20s, it was more like 9-ish, on my days where I could sleep in. And then earlier than 20s, it was even later. So it kind of, as your decades go up, your sleeping in time sort of gets earlier, which is pretty natural for everybody.
I think about that all the time because I also have young kids. And thinking about the like 7 a.m. start, 8 a.m. like school starts and this like mad dash in the morning. And a lot of people are not ready to get their day started like that, and you're kind of forced into this like very rushed, abrupt morning routine.
Yeah, unless you're a morning person, which then great for you. But, I'm just not one of those people.
So walk me through 8 o'clock you wake up and what's next?
So I used to just immediately grab my computer and just start working. And I did that for years. And at some point, I realized that's just not the best way to start the day. I mean, I feel like I had to because I had to get so much done. We bootstrapped for 9 years before ever taking an investment. And that's all I knew was like working, sleeping, working out, and making time for, social, whatever, friends. Now, I do things very differently. I wake up, I say hi to my baby. I head down to the sauna where I do my Wim Hof breath work. I do that for 15 to 20 minutes, depending on how much time I have or what I'm feeling. Like if I have a lot of stress, I try to squeeze in an extra few minutes just until I feel super calm. And then I get right into the cold plunge at 40 degrees. I do that anywhere between, depending on, where I am in my cycle or whatnot. It could be as short as 3 minutes, as long as 8 minutes. And I cold plunge. And then I try, if I have time, to do a workout. And
I just did my first cold plunge.
And
I was in Austin and I was staying at the Proper and they opened a spa in the hotel.
Ooh.
And I had like a free 30 minutes and they have these incredible recovery rooms where they have cold plunge, red light, and sauna.
Amazing.
So I didn't have a time or anything. I was really just counting. And I think I made it like maybe 45 seconds.
Okay.
So I definitely have some work to do here. 8 minutes is incredible.
Well, it's all about the breath work. So if you do this Wim Hof breath work, your body's actually less sensitive to pain. So you can tolerate the cold a lot better. It's a game changer.
And when did you incorporate the Wim Hof breathing techniques into your routine?
Probably not. It's been a few years now because I started it before I got pregnant and my son he'll be 2 in May. So let's say 3 years ago, but I couldn't really do it in pregnancy. They say not to, and it's also just kind of hard and all that. A few years ago, my dad had something crazy happen where he was skiing one day. He was like, I think my foot's going numb. Within 48 hours, he was paralyzed. And I was like, wait, what? 3 or 4 months in the hospital, 37 doctors, all this stuff. They couldn't figure it out, send him home. And I'm like, in a wheelchair. And my dad was skiing, it was wild. And I was like, my dad is such a stressed out person. Like people were like, oh, he got COVID or it was this vaccine or was it this and that. I'm like, it could have been any of these things, guys. Like you put something in a petri dish of stress, it can become anything. And I started doing all this research and found all these similar stories. And I'm not a doctor. This isn't medical advice, but my intuition I had done this once. Somewhat recently, my husband had been like, you should try this breath work. It's really crazy. And I was like, this thing that I just did, Dad, I think it could help you. And I said, if you do it every day for 2 weeks, when you start to create new neural pathways, I'll do it with you. And within 15 days, he could move his toes again. He's totally fully walking and fine. And it changed my life too. I did it with him and I've never stopped, minus pregnancy.
That is an incredible story. And you said your dad is walking, moving.
Yeah.
I mean, full recovery.
I mean, he hasn't skied yet, but he's hoping. He just bought a ski and ski out place, so I think it's on his radar.
That's incredible.
Yeah.
Wow. So this is something for you that I would imagine has become a non-negotiable in your routine.
Yeah. It's been life-changing.
Are you doing this every day?
I really try to. There are certain circumstances, like a really early flight or whatever, where I don't get to wake up and do it right away, but I usually then try to find time later in the day. But I just love doing it first thing in the morning. It's always best to do it on an empty stomach. And also, you don't have all these thoughts that have already started to infiltrate your brain. You can kind of just do it. And then you feel kind of high and energized when you're done. And it just changes all this chemistry in your body. And just everything that hits you later in the day, you're kind of just like, all right, I've got this.
For someone who's looking to start or is interested in this, where does one go?
Yeah, so there's a book that's super easy, that the Wim Hof method, you can listen to it or whatever. He also has so many YouTube videos. This is the guy who holds all the world records for ice swimming and things like that. So if you Google the name, you'll find so many things. And it's such a simple method and it's free, right? It's just breathing. So it's super simple. You can Google it. You can watch videos of him doing it. You can do it with him on a YouTube video. And before you know it, you don't need any sort of video or anything. You can do it alone in a room anywhere.
I feel like this is something now that I need to try.
Try it. It's wild.
So many people, talk. I've known about this for years, and I've heard so many incredible success stories. None quite, I would say, to the extent that you've shared here about your dad. But I am definitely intrigued.
Yeah, check it out.
So after the cold plunge, Wim Hof,
I try to work out.
Yeah.
Depending on my day. Again, time is everything, sometimes meetings or travel or whatnot come up. But if I have time, I'll do a workout and I try to mix it up. So if I have a lot of emails to check, I'll just jump down to the spin bike in my basement and I'll do that. And that way I can kind of like email and spin and do whatever. If I have a really small amount of time, I'll throw on my Catalyst suit, which is like a full body EMS suit, because you get like an hour's worth of weightlifting in 20 minutes and you're really sore. So that's also a quick and easy one. If I have a little bit more time, I like to go to a class. So a Barry's class, and actually the CEO of Barry's is on our board, Joey, we love him so much, or a plate fit class. I can walk there and I just love plate fit. It's like highly addicting, the vibrating plate. I love it.
I love plate fit.
Mhm.
I used to do plate fit before I got pregnant.
Okay.
And there was one super convenient to where I lived.
Mhm.
And I thought it was such an incredible workout.
Yeah, I love it. It's addicting.
So workout is happening as you're able to squeeze it in.
Yeah.
Is that something that you are planning the morning of, the day before? Like when you're thinking about your calendar and how you're structuring your time in the morning, when are you making those decisions?
Sometimes the night before, sometimes the morning of. You know, there's moments where I'm like, okay, I'm going to sign up for that class and I'm going to go because I know I have the time. And there's other times where I'm going to be like, you know what? My sleep is so important to me. And the more I study and research about sleep, I'm like, I give myself that room if I'm really exhausted to say, I'm going to see when my body wakes up. And if it's a little bit later and I need to skip a workout or do a shorter workout, I'm going to make that decision in the morning. And honestly, most of the time I end up waking up and having time for a workout anyway, but sometimes I don't. And I don't feel guilty for prioritizing my sleep. Like I've stopped shaming myself like we were talking about.
Good.
Yeah.
So after the workout, what's next?
Work. Always work. You know, and every day looks different. I mean, as an entrepreneur, I think that's just the nature of it. But some days I go into the office, some days I work from home. And I mean, no two work days look alike. I feel like they evolve by the day, by the week, by the year, just depending on, you know, where the business is at, what we're doing. It's always different.
You said that you had, bootstrapped this for 9 years and you're now 15.
Almost. We're like 14 and a half years.
Almost 15 years into this. When did you start to really expand and grow the team?
Probably. So we took this investment in late 2019 at 10 stores, being like, okay, we're done bootstrapping. We're ready to hit the pedal to the metal. We feel like we've learned a little bit about life and business, because we started it when we were so young. Like, and I say we, it's my now husband is my co-founder. We were 23 when we started it. We didn't know what we were doing about, with anything. So when we took the investment, we were like, okay, now's the time to like grow. Of course, we started to build the infrastructure a little bit, do all these interviews. And before we knew it, COVID had hit, right? It was only months after the investment. So that obviously, stalled a lot of things, given that we were really only in Southern California and New York City. We basically just had to pause for almost a year. And then it was a lot of rebuilding. So then I think by 2022, we were at the point where we're like, okay, we've really gotten back to the place that we were in late 2019. Now let's grow. So we started focusing on signing a lease every other month. And then when we felt really good in that place, focusing on signing a lease every single month, which often translates to 12 openings a year. But that's why I say we focus on lease signings, because with permitting and construction, like things can get jumbled. So if we just focus on the lease signing, we know the openings will come, but it's not always like we were focusing on an opening a month, and that was driving us crazy.
So how do you wrap your head around all of these openings and leases? And like, what part of growing the business are you focusing on? What is your husband focusing on? What are you delegating?
I mean, it's changed so much. Now we have such an amazing team, and we're all truly friends. Like, it's actually really fun to go to work, but I could not do this alone. Like before pre-investment, our corporate team was like 5-6 people. Now it's probably closer to 25, and growing. So I dabble in different parts of the business. Like I really enjoy real estate, marketing, product. That's been, big pieces that I've focused on, but I also have people leading those teams. So it's not like I'm owning those things anymore. My husband is very much involved in finance, but also a little bit of real estate. He's much more involved in HR than I am. I oversee like all, anything, any training materials and anything that like happens in the store. The operational processes all originally come from me, but I'm not the one who obviously can oversee that all day to day because we're just way, way beyond that at this point.
Something that I love about your business is the hours. Mm-hmm. And I think that you have made a space for any person to get these services at almost any time of day. How did that decision come to be? And like maybe tell the audience about the hours of your Sugared and Bronze locations.
Yeah, we open at 9. We close at 11 most of the time. If it's right before festivals or, a 4th of July, a big holiday, often we'll go till midnight for extended hours. And I think a lot of it was because I'm a night owl, but also I worked, right? So I had a corporate job before I started the business, not for that long, but I did work in an office and I didn't leave until 5, 6 later than that. And then also when I started this business, I, took clients until when it was just me, let's say 8. I couldn't get my nails done if I had somewhere to go after work, whether it was the corporate job or me starting this business, all the nail salons closed at 7. And I was like, this doesn't make any sense. Like so many people work. Why would these services close at 7? Like getting off at 6:30 just isn't a reality all the time for a lot of people. And when I was in New York City, I'd be like, things here are open way later. Like this is so frustrating. So I'm going to make sure we're never that business that closes too early for you, because why? And honestly, a lot of our staff members are night owls too. Like people, not that everyone is, but it's split. Like people all like different schedules. So it's like, why not let the night owls work late and not have to get there early? And, everyone's kind of happy with the different shifts we offer too.